Guys, that's what we're going to break down today. So we are a little early on the live stream, but the point is so we can share with you the information because we have to get the transmission out here to everybody. This is our emergency hurricane live stream. So you guys see my Instagram story. Parking lot's flooded, but it's okay. Hey, It's okay because we're here to help you guys out because no hurricane's going to stop me. No stinking broke guru ain't going to stop me. So we're just going to break it down. So let's kind of talk about this from the top, right? If you're a beginner in wholesaling real estate, you need to find the best markets and the best areas. Like, I mean, how important it is to find a good area for wholesaling, right? Because you could be in the best wholesaling market, but if you're going after the wrong properties and the wrong area, you're going to think that there's no gold there, right? Like, this is a terrible market. But the issue is you're probably not going after the right lists and you're going after the wrong areas, right? Yeah, so that's what we're going to break down today, and that's really what we're going to share. So what is the importance of having a good market?
Well, I mean, your market's everything. So either you're doing this locally, you're doing it virtually. And sometimes, like, I've been guilty of just jumping into a market because I had some success. I moved with it. But locally, you need to find the neighborhoods that are going to work best for you. And just so you guys often know, it's not the neighborhood you live in. So I like to look for any type of properties where there's an average median price or below. I don't like to go too far below. And here's a really cool thing. If you're doing local and you're doing virtual, you literally get to pick anywhere you want to go on planet Earth to do it. And this is your time to really kind of dig in the numbers and find out. And remember, the reason you go to another market is because you believe you're going to have success. Either you have history there, you live there, you have family there. That all helps out. But if you have none of that, we're going to talk today about how the best way is to select those markets to make sure you're picking the right ones. And honestly, I love to let other people do the work for me. I don't like to reinvent the wheel. And that's one of my secrets, successes is find people that are having success in market and just duplicate what they're doing. And if you're saying that, like, how do I do that? It's really easy. Just get on any wholesaler cash buyers list that do not vet their cash buyers and they use their ego. And honestly, you can save yourself a lot of time and money just by using that little trick.
Yeah, guys, we have a ton of those little tricks on here today on how to do it. And we're really excited for it. So without further ado, let's break this down. Let's kind of get into the nitty gritty information for you guys to know for the best success possible. So let's break this down on how to find the best market. So like, let's talk about virtual markets really quick, starting out, right? Like, so how do you find the best virtual wholesaling markets? I've always found here in wholesaling real estate to find the best virtual wholesaling markets, it's good to stick to two key principles. Now, if you keep to these two key principles, you're actually going to do very well. You're actually going to be able to find the best deals, and you're also going to be able to find the best cash buyers for those deals. So there's a lot of motivation with these sellers. They're willing to take the properties down for a discount. And then you also have cash buyers to buy the deal because there's a lot of these rural areas out here that have like 4,000 people living in them. And yeah, you might get a really good discount, but nobody wants to buy that stinking property, right? So it's sort of like supply and demand. Maybe I can buy ice for 10 cents on the dollar, but the problem is I'm in Alaska, right? Like it might be a good deal in Houston, right? Where it maybe it's hot in the summer, but in Alaska, it ain't a good deal, right? So you just depend on where your market is. You might have a good deal relatively to what other wholesaling's at, but you got to know what market you're in. So just understand that. So what's the principle and rules I always tell everyone to follow? I always tell everybody follow this simple rule. Guys, make sure your city's population is over 50,000. Guys, make sure the city's population is over 50,000. This will ensure there's plenty of buyers ready to actually go out here and buy your wholesaling deals from you guys. So make sure the city population is over 50,000. I'm telling you guys, that will work very well for you. That will probably give you the best chance of success. Make sure that is there, 50,000. And then I like your ARVs, your average ARV, to be below $300,000. Make sure your ARV is below $300,000 because if the average ARV is below $300,000, that means on average they're willing to take more of a discount on property. When somebody owns a property over $300,000, $400,000, even $500,000, they're less willing to take a deep discount on the property. Just it's the law of large numbers, right? So it's easier for me to get 60 cents on the dollar on a $300,000 house, so there's motivation from the seller, versus 60 cents on a dollar on a $30 million penthouse in Bel Air in California, right? Like there's a key difference between that. Just it's the price. People are less willing to give a discount the higher the value of the asset. That's pretty much how wholesaling works. So if you keep the ARVs under 300,000, you have the best examples and the best chance of getting deals. So let's go over some examples of these really good properties, these really good areas to start wholesaling at for virtual. Now, I'm not telling you guys to use this market, but these are examples that I do have on here. So the first and foremost, like Memphis, Tennessee, ARVs are very low, very high population. A lot of these cash buyers, they're really looking to buy a lot of rental properties. So it's pretty easy to figure out what the rent's going to be in the area, and then you can sell it to the cash buyer. Very simple and easy. I'm telling you guys straight up watching this right now, it's absolutely killer for you to use this. Memphis, Tennessee, amazing markets. Next one, something like Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Midwest in the United States is really hot on fire right now, right? There's a lot of rentals, there's a lot of cheap assets, and a lot of cash buyers there. So I definitely think Fort Wayne, Indiana is something no one really talks about too much. But it's absolutely an amazing market, right? I just don't think people talk about these type of little Midwest markets, right?
Yeah, I mean these guys, these aren't the only markets. I'm just trying to like spur ideas for you to understand, especially if you're in a market that's just crazy, crazy. I don't think any market's like super saturated, but San Diego, San Francisco, Manhattan, Miami. If you're in markets like that, the sky's the limit. So like look at these examples we're putting up there, because these are places where people have had a ton of success. And like you don't have to reinvent the wheel, man. Just like go where the money is. Like there's opportunities. Real estate's all localized. So the beauty of these are up and coming areas that have not achieved the status of places that I've mentioned before. So
yeah, and like one thing I want you guys to understand, like Fort Wayne, Indiana. Like, I mean, have you ever heard of Fort Wayne, Indiana?
actually I have.
You have, but
Yeah.
like it's not commonplace.
No.
And the population of Fort Wayne, Indiana, 265,000. Massive.
That's pretty big.
And the amount of wholesalers that talk about Fort Wayne, Indiana, very low, right? Everyone goes to Indianapolis. Guys, there's so many buyers there, right? And just like it's not really talked about, but like there's a ton of them, right? I just want everybody to understand that like it's crazy, guys. I'm telling you, Fort Wayne, Indiana, absolutely amazing, guys. Should be going after that one. Dayton, Ohio, another Midwest market that works really well. Kind of in the Southeast, right? Springfield, Missouri. Now, I talked about too much, but guys, ton of buyers there. I'm telling you, like huge population, great deals, and you get a lot of properties really for great discounts. And then like Davenport, Iowa, another Midwest, right? Like, so a lot of these places that I'm talking about right now are in the Midwest and in the Southeast of the United States, just because there's cheap properties and people love them to buy them, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the point. So what's the next method here that I've found a lot of success with? Honestly, what I could tell you is I found a lot of success in wholesaling just by asking my cash buyers. And what do I mean by asking my cash buyers? Legit. Ask your cash buyers what areas they're looking to buy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so we're talking more and more like as the market shifts, you guys got to spend more intel getting from your cash buyers. So like we've ignored cash buyers for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's coming back to haunt a lot of people. So talk to your cash buyers and get intel and just ask them, where are you looking to buy? And they will tell you. And they're all going to look for stuff around the average median price of up and coming areas. So it's not like rocket science, but your cash buyers will reaffirm the areas and the price points and the type of properties they want to buy. And if you don't listen to them, you can't guess. So you have to know where they're going to go. And for God's sakes, talk to more than one. Talk to 5, 10, 15. And because as soon as you think you have a market figured out, cash buyers will start to shift. So like an example, we're in Florida. The price points have gotten so high. A lot of these investors are shifting and going to other markets where they feel there's better opportunity, there's better price points, and better ways to make money. And so you got to pay attention when they make that shift. So the only way you can do this is by talking to them.
Yeah, they'll tell you like, hey, I'm looking to buy this area, this area, this area, right? Like the reason why I tell you guys to buy properties and put it under contract in the areas your cash buyers say is because you give your cash buyers zero excuses not to go with you. And what do I mean by that? So you're looking here, if your cash buyer wants to say, hey, this is the zip code I want, 3.2s, rental properties, that's what I want. Guess what? Oh, I want it under 150. What if you get a property under contract for 110 and it's a 3.2 in that area to a cash buyer for 140? They literally can't say no because they said that's their criteria, right? I'm not no. I mean, obviously it might need repairs or anything, but like that. But like you give your cash buyers zero excuses, right?
Yeah.
Zero excuses why they can't buy that deal. And this just gives it back to like people that say, oh my gosh, Zach, I'm struggling so much on selling my wholesaling deals. It's not about that. Okay. Like if you're struggling, just understand why. You're in the process in wholesaling where you put a property under contract and then you sell that contract. So there's two processes to it. Like it's not just about getting deals; it's about selling the deal too.
Yeah,
that's the second part about wholesaling.
And it's more important now with the ever-changing market that you guys communicate and spend more time with your cash buyers. I know your gurus taught you to ignore them. They're a dime a dozen. I'm just telling you, they are not a dime a dozen, not even close. They're more like 90 cents per dollar.
Yeah.
Meaning you're going to have to talk out of 9 to 10 to find one to buy your property. So you was the other way around really for the last 7 years. And it's changed, guys. If you see what's going on with interest rates, I'm pretty sure we're at 8 now. We got to be close to it.
Yeah.
And there's room to go to 9. Some people are talking about 10. I think that's a little much, but you got to understand somebody has to buy these properties, and cash doesn't have the same obstacle as a 9 or 10% mortgage rate. But remember, they have a million options. Me and Zach are being presented with more opportunities than I've seen in the last 5 years. And I know it's only going to get so much better. Like you got November and December coming along, which is not going to get any better. And then we're rolling into the following year, which I think is going to be 12 months of just, it's going to be pain in the market. So guys, you have to go for no price. And you've got to stay in touch with your cash buyers. Start spending time with them. Heck, even have meetup groups with them. Educate them. See what's going on. Because I'm telling you, they are going to be presented with a ton of opportunities. There's very few cash buyers, and there's going to be lots of deals. And whoever gets the sweetest deal is going to get the best. Marginal deals will not cut it anymore. Do not buy them.
No, they have to be a lot of motivation, right? And you kind of talked about in your live stream on Monday about it, but guys, it works really well. So what if you can't talk to your cash buyers? You want to find even more areas, right? Just find out where a lot of the rental properties are at. Because if you're finding cash buyers and they're going to flip the house or they're going to rent the property out, where there's usually rental properties are in like clusters in cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not like, some of them are all over the place, but like some of them are like clusters because like we said, we really like to go after properties that have a lower ARV, but the crime rate's a little lower too, right? So it's kind of like a blue collar neighborhood. And those are really good for rentals. And they're really clustered together. So look at where rental properties are at. Look for ARVs that are cheap, that have rental properties that are in decent condition, and find those areas. And that's probably going to be a good area to wholesale, because if there's already rental properties there, call the landlords up and see if they're looking to buy more rentals in that area. And then say, yes, fine, go after it, right? You could also reverse wholesale. And this is something we've said about ask your cash buyers, right? So I'll bring that back up, where you go to the cash buyer first. You don't even find the deal first. You actually go to the cash buyer first and you ask them, hey, Mr. Cash Buyer, like, are you looking to buy more properties? Yes, I'm looking to buy more. Well, what areas you're looking like that? And then boom, you go after that specific area. That works too.
And that works well too on the deals that you're not getting the number you want. Like they're not meeting your number. Listen, you're not in like this old economy where you just throw everything under contract. Okay. That was reckless. That's pure speculation when you do that, and actually works in an up and coming market. But in this market, when somebody doesn't meet your price point, it means you got them in the follow-up phase. So either they're going to bend on price or time is going to change their circumstance. You always hear time and circumstance. Okay. Usually it's time. Circumstance happens over time. So when I have something sitting on the edge, that's a great time to talk to your cash buyer. Now, here's what I don't want you to do. Don't give the cash buyer the address. Go, listen, I got this little 2-bedroom, 2-bath, needs about $30K worth of work. It's got potential. You know, here I'm at with the number. What do you think? And just shoot them a number. So if you're under contract, if they were stuck at like 130, okay, and you said, listen, I got to get it at like 115 or below, that's the property where I'm going to present it to my cash buyer. I'm not going to give them the address, but I'm going to paint a very vivid picture for them. And I'm going to give them exact numbers. I go, what number do you think you would be in at that? And then I'm going to take their gauge and take that number. And if he says, I could probably do like 130 or like 132, then I'm going to go back. Now I got a backup kind of offer and say, listen, can we put that in writing? You can even put it like somewhat in writing, like even a letter of intent.
Yeah.
Now you can go back to your seller and go, listen, I know you said like 130 was it, and just go back to them and say, listen, can we do 125 and I'll close in X amount of days? And maybe you wind up at like 127. All you got to do is get the buyers to come up a couple grand more. And now you've put together an $8,000 deal just by doing the reverse method. The key here is don't share the address because they will go behind your back.
Oh, yeah.
So paint out the picture. You can even share pictures. You can share spreadsheet numbers. Here's the key to this. Give them real numbers. Don't give them BS comps. Don't give them BS repair numbers. You got to give them accurate numbers, because if you get to it and do all that and the numbers are bogus, you've just wasted everybody's time. So I'm going to be much more honest about the numbers. And then eventually, I know that seller's probably going to drop down to like 120, 125. If it takes 2 months, I got him at 130, 132. I can get him 125. Sometimes you just take the deal down. So here's, hey, Rick, how do I know I need to take that deal down earlier? Well, if you need to pay your rent or your lights getting ready to be shut off, take it down earlier. If you've got time, then wait it out. We've all got bills to pay, but like some of you are just getting started out and you just need to get a few dollars in your bank account. It's okay to take wins. You will never get killed taking a profit.
No.
You just learn to go, okay, well, I collected $2,000. I've done deals where I've made $1,500. Why? Because I could. Okay. And there's no shame in this market in taking it. So if you guys are behind, you got payments due, you got to like put food on the table, take the couple $1,000s and live and fight another day. I'm just telling you. But if you can wait it out and you want the probabilities there, then wait it out. It's up to you guys. Reverse engineering some of these deals works really well in this market. The key is do not share the address, because they will slice you out of it immediately. And I'm telling you, I've been burned on it. We've all been burned on it. If you're new and you want to do this, that's great. Don't do this on every one of them.
No, but like if somebody sold the deal to 3 or 4 or 5 times and they're trusted, sure.
Yeah.
Right. But like, just be careful. I do it on very trusted buyers. So that's why I find a lot of them.
And that's why you vet your buyers to make sure you actually have real cash buyers. You don't have wholesalers that are going to go behind your back.
Yeah. So the next one here is just find where people are flipping houses, right? So how do I find people who are flipping houses? I can use a service like listri.com, where basically I just go to PropStream and find properties that are being bought and sold for big profits in like 5 or 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty easy way to do it. One thing I've always found is just find where house flippers I've always seen. If you can identify on Facebook groups, people that flip houses, I have found these house flippers. You see it all the time. They like posting their deal, because a lot of house flippers, I'm not making fun of them, but a lot of them are very proud about their flip. They're very proud about the craftsmanship of the subway tiles, right? They're very proud of it, right? So guess what they do? They post the deal on their Facebook, right?
Yeah.
New flip on the market, gonna sell fast. And it's like some crazy price, right? But here's the cool part. You can just scroll for like the year and find where they're flipping the houses. And they're buying it from wholesalers.
I see one more video of a wholesaler walking through how beautifully they decorated a house. Guys, just so you know, that has nothing to do with wholesaling. It's called a design show. And when you get into designs and stuff like that, honestly, it's much more ego pride than it is about profit, because a smart person would just, they would take the deal down and move as fast as they can.
Yeah,
that's how you make.
Some flippers flip and they make money from that too. But like,
drives me nuts.
What I mean by this is like a lot of these flippers are actually just going to go out here and they're just going to post their flip because they're proud of it. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But here's the coolest part about that. Then I could find those areas and then go after those areas, right? Like if I'm starting out in wholesaling, these are the little simple things you can start doing to find these deals really quick and easy, right? It's amazing how easy it is right now with everything. Now, I spelled that wrong. I was pretty quick today, but driving this crazy hurricane, writing this stuff down. But I was just copying this on my phone. But the next part is steal your competition's cash buyers. And I've said this a lot of times, and I get a lot of trouble every single time I say this, but steal your competition's cash buyers. So if your competition is posting everywhere that he made $30,000 on this check in this property, find out where that property was, find the cash buyer to that deal, and then boom, you're good to go, right? I found really well that if I could find where my competition's, who they're selling to, I can find where they're buying. So like if I find out that Joe Smith bought my competition's deal and he bought like 10 of his deals this month,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna look up Joe Smith's company on the deed and on the public records, and I can find the addresses to all 10 properties he bought.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they're all in 8 of them are in the same zip code. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, guys. When people brag, use that to your advantage. Okay, because a lot of the checks actually have the address on them. So
Yeah. And listen, you're like, oh, well, that's unethical, dude. It's done to us every day. Like, you can't stop it. It's public record. It's really not hard to figure it out. And that's why I tell you guys to leave your ego out of the business. And if you don't want people to duplicate everything you're doing, stop putting your deals all over the internet and sharing it for the world. Because
well, you can post your checks. You just block out your address.
block out the addresses. Because like once I get like a target area, it's really easy to figure people out. And guys, I'm not proud that like I sit there and reverse engineer people's markets.
I'm proud of it.
It's super easy. Like,
I'm proud of it. I don't care.
You make it you guys make it so easy.
Like, I want to give everybody.
I want to reinvent the wheel by myself.
I want to give everybody watching this an unfair competition with their competition.
Yeah, no. I don't know any other guru that teaches this method.
It's they'd never say that.
Oh,
maybe it's in the discovery call, but
maybe it's the 10 grand you pay them, then they'll tell you behind the scenes.
So the next one here is a very unique one where gurus literally don't talk about this at all, but like just ask your title company. Hey, I'm looking to wholesale. Do you have any tips on the best areas that you're finding these cash buyers are buying them in? Because if you're dealing with an investor-friendly title company, a good wholesaling title company that deals with a lot of wholesaling transactions, the coolest part about this is they know the addresses and they'll give you hints because they want you to close deals with them, right? Oh, these are the 3 top zip codes that we're finding these cash buyers buying them to, right?
Yep.
Another big tip. They want to get money, right? They are not loyal. I'll tell you this. They're not loyal to a wholesaler. Hey, do you have any cash buyers that are looking to buy any more properties for cash from the title company I get connected to? Guys, I'm telling you, ask. They might say no, but on the 50% chance they say yes, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's your title companies are, how should I say this? They are like the gossip hub for everything real estate. They'll tell you what realtors are like the movers and shakers. They'll tell you who the cash buyers are, who has the most money. They'll tell you who the best hard money lenders are. They'll even tell you who the best soft money lenders are. Guys, they'll tell you if things are happening. If you want to get a pulse on what's going on in your local market, go to your local title company. Remember, they deal with hundreds and hundreds of realtors, a handful of investors. When you put it all together, like you can get a ton of data from your title companies. And if you're really good, you form a great relationship by building rapport, and you'll actually get deals from your title company. I do all the time. Why? And by the way, my title company deals with 30, 40 investors. How do I get the deals? Because I treat them the kindest, the fairest, and I spend more time with them, and I try to figure out like what's going on. So it's, guys, your title company, you can't do this from day one, but you just build up over time. And honestly, within 6 months to 1 year, you can easily get to this status. Easily.
So just I don't know any other guru that says just ask the title company, but like
they don't,
because it's not ethical. Guys, I think it's pretty ethical.
It's ethical.
You're making the money,
and it's free.
It's free, guys.
It's some of the best data too.
Your guru broke, and they don't know about this because they broke. If your guru rich, they'd actually know about this. They'll tell you about it, guys. I'm telling you, it works really, really well. So let's go to the next one here. Here, like I said this before, but I'm not saying this to be like there's a problem with a high crime area or anything about that. But like, I would avoid high crime areas with low ARVs, and the reasoning is because of 2 things. Your landlord buyers don't really want that area. And number 2, they don't want to deal with that area to flip because it gets broken into all the time. Like we've done some flips in very high crime areas and it gets broken into all the time. It's just your profit goes down the drain.
Yeah. So let me give you a little tip. If you're struggling with this and you're like, what are you talking about? Number 1, just just get the feed from your local police department, and you can easily point out what areas are a problem. Number two,
you can literally just ask them,
Yeah.
and just to be nice, and they'll actually be very helpful for you because they want you to feel safe.
Yeah.
What are the high crime areas in the city? I'm new. They'll give you all the statistics.
Number two, when you look at the property appraiser site and you look at like the deed, if you see a long list of owners in a short period of time, it's what we call a history lesson. Unless you want to be on that long list, which I've been on that list, it means you are in a problematic area with a problem property. That's why it's changed hands so many times. Really good properties, if they're really good, people own them a super long time. Nightmare properties, what do? They get rid of them. And you'll see it. Foreclosed on by a bank, an investor bought it, investor quick claimed it, and then it got sold again, and then it got sold at auction, and then the bank again. And it happens over and over. I bought a property once. I want to say it had 68 different owners, and that's less than a 50-year period. And most of the owners, 25 of them were within an 8 to 10-year period. So knowing that if you see a long transaction, that is what we call a history lesson. You're either going to learn from it and try to avoid it, or you're going to be part of the history, and then you're really going to learn the hard lesson. So I'm just telling you, if you see a ton of transactions on a property, you better note the area, because that means it's problematic. And here's the funny thing is sometimes people think, well, it's just tied specifically to that property. No, it's typically an area. There's not one bad property, and like occasionally in a good neighborhood, but for the most part, bad areas, that's it. Guys, I've made a ton of money. I've had my back windshield broken out. I've dealt with pit bulls chasing me. I've seen everything, and it's just not worth it.
You've dealt with monkeys. You've dealt with people throwing bricks, right?
No, I've been chased out. Like,
yeah,
it's just
we've had guys. When you do as many deals as we do,
I didn't get in this business to do that. Now, sometimes the properties choose us, and we don't choose them. But like when I started out, I did some really, like, I was doing $8,000 and $10,000 duplexes.
I would never understand
really
that
bad stuff.
I mean, I'm a Florida man. You're a Florida man. This is Florida. So this is just the typical day of a Floridian. Monkeys chasing you, bricks thrown at you, iguanas.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, a giant iguana was swimming.
Yeah. Guys, it's just Florida. Like you just get you. It's kind of, I was born into this,
Gators. I pulled gators out of swimming pools.
Fun fact to tell everybody, since we're in a hurricane right now, I was born during a hurricane. Hurricane was in the hospital when I was born.
And this is, by the way, this is the latest hurricane on record to make landfall.
All right. Cool.
Especially, I don't know if it's the state of Florida, but I mean, we're in November.
That's crazy. So the next one here is just find low. This is what I like. Like I said, those blue collar areas, because your tenants on these, they're not going to afford too much rent, but they're going to work very blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
And it's because it's lower, right? So find low crime areas with low ARVs. That's the sweet spot. So if property values are low, but there's not much crime in the area, they're absolutely amazing rentals. And that's where a lot of people like to buy. That's where I love buying, right? So people send me multifamily deals all the time. Like, this is what I look for, because, and then obviously, like, but how do you deal with the high crime areas? Well, a lot of the high crime areas are usually Section 8. So a lot of those people, that's a specific type of landlord, and they're okay buying those things all day. They don't flip them, but a lot of them are going to be rentals for there. And then the last and probably the most important one is ask your cash buyer investor realtor. And there's a lot of these investor realtors where I showed you guys in freewholesaling.com, like how to go realtor.com or Zillow and just find the recently sold and look for ugly looking houses that sold. Usually those are investment buyers. And just ask these realtors that have cash buyers, like, where are you looking to buy? I'll just send you some deals. They'll tell you.
I made a killing when I first started. I knocked on like every realtor's door. I think I knocked on like 130. And I got 2 realtors to send me deals. And, that was still some training and work through it. And it worked really well. Here's another tip. Talking on the previous bullet point is you're in a new age economy. So guys, if you see, like me and him had an epiphany once, we got stuck at a red light. And remember, like, I swear, like 100 prime trucks pulled out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it's like endless.
You
And
proceeded to
from that,
buy so many rentals.
I
out
went
there.
back and I did research to find out Amazon opened up a distribution center right around
They kept
the
it very
corner.
hush hush. They didn't really talk.
Yeah.
It
And
wasn't
now, like, we went out and attacked that area. And who
Yeah.
doesn't want a rental within like a mile or two of any of these distribution centers? Guys, if you see a ton of like prime trucks pulling all out,
yeah.
like, take note, because these people they're blue collar workers. They're making a decent wage. And just from that tip alone, I was able to purchase, I think, 4 or 5 homes. And here's the key: is they weren't even homes. I did mobile homes, and we were getting the same amount of rent as a house on it, but it was like 80% cheaper, and all from the Amazon trucks pulling out. So we typically ignore them, but when you see like 50 or 60 trucks pulling out, pay attention. So look and see if you have any up and coming, any type of like production plants. Like, for a long time in Florida, give you an example, the NASA, like, they cut their budget stack, cut everybody out, and now they're bringing in the private sector with SpaceX and all this other stuff, and there's a complete revitalization to the area. 5 years ago, you could buy a house in there for 20 grand, and this was all laid out in front of us. I didn't take advantage of it, but I'm just here to tell you guys, look for those opportunities, especially if you're in the Midwest or in like the Southeast and you see these distribution centers coming. They bring thousands of employees and they all drive up the rents.
Yeah, I agree. So, guys, that's how you find them. I just think it's super simple the way you can find really good areas. The issue is not a lot of people have that knowledge. So this is why in this video we wanted to share the knowledge for you guys. So